DEVS is a science fiction miniseries on Hulu written and directed by Alex Garland. If you haven't watched it yet, I will be talking about spoilers, so watch the show first and then come back. Alright, here we go. The science fiction drama DEVS takes place in San Francisco. Lily Chan and her boyfriend Sergey work for a tech company named Amaya. One day Sergey gets a promotion from the company's CEO Forrest, played by Nick Offerman. But after Sergey visits the development department, also known as DEVS, he commits suicide under mysterious circumstances. Lily doesn't trust the people at Amaya and soon discovers that Sergey was not who he said he was, and Amaya is hiding something. And with the help of her ex-boyfriend Jamie, she uncovers the secret of DEVS. I don't think Alex Garland has ever written anything that isn't interesting. I mean, Ex Machina, Annihilation, The Beach, 28 Days Later, Dread. I mean, that's an impressive resume. And DEVS has all the things Garland is known for. Symbolism, foreshadowing, and the story is very layered. That's why this is one of those shows that gets better after you watch it more than once. When you look back at certain episodes, you can see all the little connections. Storytelling is all about controlling the flow of information, and Garland knows exactly when to feed you something new.
This changes everything.
No. If it's true, it changes absolutely nothing.
For example, the logo of the company Amaya is a depiction of a little girl. In the very first episode, we see a giant statue of it towering above the tree lines where the company is based. Later, we find out that this is the daughter Forrest has lost. It's not until episode 5 where we see what actually happened to her. There's very little exposition, and some things are never explained at all. But it's full of little Easter eggs, like the numbers game that Lily plays with her colleagues.
144
233
377
610
987.
If you Google those numbers, you'll discover it's the Fibonacci sequence. Or how about Sergey's last name Pavlov? Which of course refers to the famous psychologist who studied conditioned reflexes in feeding a dog. Basically the study of cause and effect. Which brings us to the essence of the show.
The universe is deterministic.
The philosophy behind determinism. Now, I'm not a philosophy expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I have read some books and I watched a lot of film. And determinism is one of the most interesting elements in a lot of science fiction movies. Determinism is the theory that there are no random events. Everything is governed by causal laws, so every choice you make is preordained regardless of free will. This is not a subject that's new in the movies we watch. The Matrix, for example, is all about free will versus determinism.
And don't worry about the vase.
What vase?
So is Minority Report, or any time travel movie for that matter. What makes this show unique is that the plot device is something a little more tangible than time travel: quantum computing.
Whoa.
The quantum computer in the show decodes the universe. The machine can extrapolate into the past, seeing everything that has happened all the way back to the Big Bang, and of course, it can do that with the future as well. It's almost a science fact because in theory, this could one day be possible. Some even think this has already happened and we are living in a simulation at this very moment. Garland obviously did a ton of research on this and even based the look of the machine on the quantum computers we have today. And not only does it take on a big subject like that, it also has a compelling story, and human drama and morality haunt this show like two giant haunting things. I like that the miniseries exists in a gray area. Take our antagonist, for example. Forrest is a man tormented by his past, and the loss of his daughter has made him obsessive. He needs to know, absolutely know, that there was nothing he could have done to prevent the accident. Just like he tells Sergey right before his goon Kenton kills him.
This is absolution. You could only have done what you did.
He's not necessarily a bad person, but he's not exactly good either, because he does allow bad things to happen. The people in the DEVS department are equally interesting. I love the juxtaposition of Stuart and Lyndon, the boomer and the zoomer who are working on coding the machine. By the way, the kid that played Lyndon is a young actress called Kaylee Spaney. I know, it blew my mind too. She is going places. And it's with Lyndon where the story takes on another layer of quantum physics, the many worlds, or the Everett interpretation.
Not a fan of the multiverse theory.
Which states that there are infinite universes in which all possible quantum outcomes are true. So every time a particle interacts with another, reality splits off into different branches. Try to picture it as the different timelines in Back to the Future Part 2, but on an infinite larger scale. This series combines that interpretation with determinism.
Deterministic because everything that can happen will happen.
So whether or not you are now bored and turn off this video will determine if you hear my joke at the very end. But you already made that choice an infinite amount of time. Nick Offerman is so very good in this show. Most people only know him as Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec, but he's an excellent dramatic actor. For example, I loved him in season 2 of Fargo, but the way he plays Forrest is the best I've ever seen him. But everybody in this show is great. Like the stoic character Katie, who is played by Alison Pill. The episode where she tricks Lyndon to die for his belief in the many worlds theory is brutal, but somehow to me she'll always be Kim the drummer from Scott Pilgrim. Sonoya Mizuno, the actress who plays Lily, was amazing. I was already a fan of hers after seeing the miniseries Maniac on Netflix, which, by the way, if you haven't seen that one, you are missing out. But most of you probably know her from this. Besides the impeccable writing and acting, the show also looks very believable. Nothing is exaggerated, and the cinematography is beautiful. I have to say my least favorite part of the series is probably episode 5. We get some more backstory of Lily and Forrest, but the narrative doesn't really move forward as much as the other episodes. Don't get me wrong, I still loved it, especially Nick Offerman's performance in this one. It's just my least favorite episode. But the one after that, episode 6, where Lily goes to Forrest's house, was nothing short of exceptional. And basically all it is two characters having a conversation at a dinner table. Just think about how good everything needs to be for that scene to work. The writing, the acting, the cinematography. Did I mention I love the show? It's during this conversation when Katie tells Lily what the machine does, and that somehow they cannot make predictions after a certain point in time. And in the final episode we see the reason for that, because just like in The Matrix,
choice. The problem is choice.
When Lily goes to DEVS and talks to Forrest, he tells her that there's no difference between a simulation and reality.
Life is just something we watch unfold, like pictures on a screen.
And I loved when he revealed the real name of the project, which is not DEVS, but Deus, the Latin name for God. I thought that was amazing. In the movie Ex Machina, Oscar Isaac essentially plays God in creating life. This show takes it a step further with a machine that is all-knowing and all-powerful. Deus Ex Machina. I love how this miniseries ends because it doesn't give you definitive answers. It gives you an answer, but man, I am still processing this whole thing. In the end, Lily and Forrest are both given a happy ending by being resurrected in the system, or Matrix if you will. They are the only ones who know it's a simulation, and like Forrest tells her, one of many. But what if you don't know? Then what is real? And maybe they were in a simulation all along. Garland poses a lot of questions like that. The subject matter might not be new, I mean, this has been on the minds of the greatest thinkers in history, but this miniseries is so compelling and smart, and I cannot recommend it enough. DEVS, or Deus, gets 6 out of 6. So you decided to watch the joke at the end of this video. The thing is, I got nothing. Let me think.